Farther north to Stevenson is an hour and 24-minute drive, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Inbound Eisenhower is a mess. Crash at Wolf in the left lane. An hour and 18 minutes, 390 to downtown, 54 minutes from Manheim. Kennedy, an hour and 12 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, 52 minutes from Montrose, 24 in the Express. Right, it's 45 minutes from 95th to downtown. I'm Jim Calamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning Weather Center. And Brian May.
Clouds giving way to some sunshine today and very cold, high 25. Clear to partly cloudy tonight, low 21. Milder tomorrow, high 44. Partly cloudy tomorrow night, low 31. Friday, cloudy, high 42. I'm Brian May on AM 560, The Answer.
Currently 14 at O'Hare. Next news at 8:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Find holiday gift ideas for you and the family at the leading indoor shooting range, Shoot Point Blank. Check out great savings on ammo, accessories, firearms, and more. Not sure what to get? Shoot Point Blank offers gift cards too. See shootpointblank.com for details.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. We talked a little bit about it yesterday, the new movie that's out with our friend Dennis Prager and Adam Carolla, No Safe Spaces. It's shown, I saw it at the AMC River East downtown Chicago. I know it was playing out in Woodridge too, but obviously check your
Were there a lot of people
listings.
in the theater?
I mean, I saw it like on a Monday night, so it's not.
Oh, by yourself.
I don't want to go where there's a lot. I won't go when there's a lot of people in the theater.
No, you don't.
Boy, No Safe Spaces. It focuses on college campuses, but of course, what happens on college campuses doesn't stay on college campus, radiates throughout our culture, including on K through 12 campuses. Mason, Michigan. Mason high school student turning to police, alleging a teacher assaulted her during school hours because she supports President Trump. Sadie Eargood told a local news station that her media technology teacher was upset by the Woman for Trump pin she was wearing. He told her he didn't like it. She said, that's fine. You don't have to like it. We can have our opinions. Then he ripped the pin off her shirt.
Oh, that's an assault. You can't do that.
Right. He grabbed it and I pulled. I tried to push his hand away and he grabbed my shoulder. He just kind of put his hand there and then he started pulling more and more and I just started backing up.
Oh, my God.
A police report was filed. Good. The teacher hasn't been at the school since December 5th when this happened.
Oh, I was going to say he probably was celebrated. Probably promoted.
Yeah, well, he's not going to be celebrated by the police. And in another installment of Irony is Dead, going back to No Safe Spaces, police officers responding to a call on Friday in La Habra, California, to the local Regal Theater after receiving a call that two male subjects entered the movie theater for a 1:10 in the afternoon showing of No Safe Spaces with their faces covered with bandanas, wearing hoods. One moviegoer reporting this, after all the previews and ads were over and the movie was just starting, two thugs sporting hoodies, masks, sunglasses, carrying huge duffel bags, ran, not walked up the aisle, and sat at the back of the theater right behind us. They looked like bank robbers, home invasion criminals. They were trying to act scary. And obviously in the era where you've had mass shooting at a movie theater and you have these Antifa thugs, also profiled in No Safe Spaces, you can understand why people would be a little jumpy.
Oh, yeah, it's scary stuff.
Yeah, and of course, as I said, the irony is lost on them. One of the things I really enjoyed about the movie was some of the great intellects that were featured helping to explain what's happening and what's been happening and why it's happening on college campuses and elsewhere. Connect the dots, because so many people are so bad at it. And one of them is a friend of our show and one of the great thinkers of the last 50 years, particularly when it comes to race and culture. one of those academics who won't be, I think, fully appreciated in his time, Shelby Steele. Shelby Steele gave the best, most incisive 60 seconds explaining the victimization ideology that you're ever going to hear.
Oh, could you hear me?
In America, you were brutalized. From birth on, you were whipped, lashed. Your children was taken from you and sold away. Your wives were used at the will of the overseer, whatever. I mean, it just was dehumanizing in every conceivable way and for centuries. So you got a beef. How long are you going to ride that beef? How long do you think it's going to take? Because the only person who can break that bond is you, inside yourself. Say, well, just because white people were once racist does not mean I'm going to sell out my life. I'm going to ask less of myself and claim that I'm being held back by victimization. And that's what is so startling to me, the way that you see now of reinventing, as I say, the oppression in your mind, the same oppression that is fading out of the world. As it fades, you cling and reinvent it, rebuild it. And so you now become the racist overseer of yourself.
You now become the racist overseer of yourself. Just exactly in one sentence, but the context he describes of from slavery to present in this country and in general, but particularly in this country. For more on the film, we're pleased to be joined by Justin Folk, who's the director of No Safe Spaces. Justin, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Dan, Amy, thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
So how is the film being received so far?
Well, it's been received very, very well. On Rotten Tomatoes, which aggregates scores and critical reviews and audience scores, we have a 98% audience rating, which means people that have gone out to see this film and have weighed in enjoy it very, very much. So we're very, very proud of that. The critics' rating is hovering around 50, but that's exactly what we expected from, a bunch of left-wing critics. But
right.
The people that see the movie absolutely love it.
Well,
So
what was the genesis of
that.
making it? Like, how did it come to be?
Dennis Prager wanted to make a movie about young people. He was concerned about what young people thought about a whole bunch of different issues. Is America a force for good? What are the values of capitalism or socialism? And so he just wanted to make a movie to get into the inside of what young people are thinking nowadays, because the cliche is true. Young people are the future. So we might want to understand what kind of future we have, paving the way for us here in America. And as we began the journey, a lot of this stuff just started to happen on campuses. The shutting down of speakers, the rioting, just the craziness that you're seeing everywhere, and not just on campuses. Dan, you touched on it earlier, and you're exactly right. What happens on campus does not stay on campus. And so we've seen this spread into all of society. And so as we were making this film, this stuff just started to blow up all around the country. And I would say our timing was fortuitous, but it's unfortunate that it was, because this is a very real issue.
Yeah, I mean, again, the thing I liked about the film, and I'm not surprised with Prager's involvement, is the dot connecting. So, you chronicled a lot of the same campus stories that we've talked about on our show, from Evergreen State to Yale to Berkeley to Middlebury. But it's the importance is connecting the dots. What's the implication of what's happening? And that's where you get to it. And you start to say, now think about that. Think about people at Yale who can't tolerate a Halloween costume that offends them. And how are they going to approach the world when they're in a position of power in our country, in a corporate boardroom, on a federal bench, in public office? That's what you need to start thinking about, because it's one thing to say, oh, well, that's just ridiculous, but it's contained on the campus of Yale. It's another thing when they have, lawmaking authority or otherwise significant corporate influence to impact culture when they get out of Yale.
Well, I think you're exactly right about the gravity of this situation. A lot of people make the mistake of disregarding what's going on with these kids as, oh, just wait till they get to the real world. They're going to rude awakening and reality will dawn on them. Well, no, that's not what's going to happen. They're going to bring that reality to modern society. These are the people that are going to be running the tech firms, Google.
Yeah.
They're going to be, like you mentioned, they're going to be the local city council leaders. They're going to be running things, lawmakers. They're going to be doing things and bringing this world that they've created, this crazy, tyrannical, thought control to the rest of society. That's the world they're going to want to create. And so people need to be aware of it. So when they see this film, they need to realize this film is not just about universities. This film is about the future of America. It's about the First Amendment and the future of America, and how this could eat us from within if we don't fight back.
What do you want to say to those two thugs who donned masks yesterday and stormed into the theater?
What would I like to say to them?
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to say that on air necessarily.
Yeah, right.
But we could expect, I think, some of this. This is the move. This is what we made the movie about. Is people like this. People wanting to intimidate other people so that they don't have a voice. Running. By the way, I live in Denver, Colorado. I live not too far from the Aurora Theater where the shooting took place. And for somebody to do something like this, it's just it's insane. It's unbelievable, and I can't believe that these guys are not being investigated. But these guys were not arrested for doing this. Is just a crime in and of itself. But yeah, I mean.
And you see this. You profiled it with the Evergreen State story too, the Brett Weinstein, and I mean that you had. It was more than just intimidation. You had a real security problem in Evergreen State. You had a university president that abdicated control of his campus to the horde and put Brett Weinstein and his wife in danger. And I thought one of the things, and we covered that story extensively, but one of the things you got in the movie that was really important was I think it's his wife's perspective, right? She's also a professor, saying, don't be, why are you surprised? You raise kids in an environment where they're in a bubble. You do the everybody gets a trophy. You do the I don't have to hear a crossword. You do the I don't even have to encounter dissent. And that you unleash them on a college campus, and you're surprised by the way they behave.
Yeah, I don't know why anybody would be surprised this is happening. And it's not just that these are snowflakes. They're being taught to act in ways that are just very uncivil. Like these two gentlemen at the theater, coming in and thinking they could scare people out of a theater. And by the way, I do want my money back from those guys. They ended up giving those people left the theater because they were scared, and they got their money back. So these guys actually took away from our box office.
They did. They stole from you.
It's true.
Yeah. So I hope people rise up around the country and go out and see this film. It's very important for us to push back, and a movie like this is one way to do that against this type of thinking. Not all young people think this way, and I think if we can get more young people to see this movie, I think we have a chance for them to understand what's really important about our society.
Well, yeah, and there was some really good interchanges. Prager with some African American students at a historically black college in Atlanta, and that was the setup for Shelby Steele's comment, which we played. This goes back to something too. I just want to sort of put an exclamation point on what you just said. This is where we've abdicated. One of the areas where conservatives have abdicated, which is the arts and entertainment, and this is an opportunity to join the intellectual battle in that space that we should have never abdicated. As von Mises said, he who wants to improve conditions must propagate a new mentality, not merely a new institution. And this is about changing the way people think and informing their understanding of what's happening and what the implications are.
Well, that's right. And Andrew Breitbart was the one that I think that first said that politics is downstream from culture. So if you want to, fight the politics battle, you need to do it first in culture before things are finally decided. I think Scalia also once said that decisions are already made well ahead of time before they get to the Supreme Court. They're just there for them to ratify them.
Yeah.
So we need to be engaged as conservatives in culture, in movies, and in the arts. And the important thing is to make a good film, and I think we've done that. And the other thing that we've done with this film that I think is very important is we've made a very balanced film. We knew what the accusation would be. We knew that people would call it a piece of right-wing propaganda. And so that's why we have people like Van Jones in our movie. We have We have Cornel West.
Right.
We have Alan Dershowitz. These are not people on the right. These are people from the left. And so we've balanced out our movie with voices from, liberal voices that do stand for freedom of speech and these principles. And I think it gives our film a very balanced feel that you could actually show to your liberal friends.
And I'll tell you what, without having to issue a spoiler alert, I like the fact that the movie ends on a hopeful note with Maestro Dennis Prager, and I'll just leave it there.
I saw the trailer.
Right.
He is Justin Folk. He's the director of No Safe Spaces. No Safe Spaces, again, it's downtown at AMC River East. I know it's out in Woodridge. Check your local listings. Go see it. Support Prager and Carolla's work and Justin's work and everybody's work here, as well as to spread the message to just open people's eyes. A really important film. Thanks so much for being a part of it, and thanks for joining us, Justin Folk.
Thank you for having me, Dan and Amy. Really appreciate it.
And thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Balance of nature. Changing the world, one life at a time.
As a retired RN, I know the importance of nutrition. I always have. Good food. It's actually healing you from the cellular level out. I'm living proof of that because for the past decade, I've been dealing with very painful brown spots on my forehead, and the brown spots, they're gone. There's only one thing that changed in my life, and that was taking Balance of Nature.
Experience the Balance of Nature difference for yourself. Call or go online now and become a preferred customer, which gives you our best pricing and free shipping. And we will take an additional 25%